Abha, how wonderful to have you here. Just so great to have you here.
It's wonderful to be here. It's my hometown.
Your hometown?
Yes.
Okay, well, we've got some interesting stuff to talk about hometown. And first question I wanted to ask you was this. What drives you to do what you've done for the past 25 years in such a distinctive way?
So in the age of globalization, people are not coming to India to see concrete boxes. They are coming to see the real India. They're coming to see the real identity of our historic towns and our neighborhoods. And while we put up this picture postcard view of the Taj and of every other monument, for a country that has 6,000 years of built heritage, do you know that not even 4,000 monuments are protected under national law? So what we're seeing is a vast expanse of amazing cultural talent set that we have and we are proud to have. But we've been so focused on this monumentary-centric approach of just about 3,700 monuments that we've forgotten the plot. We've lost the context because these monuments didn't drop from the sky. They were built from the local ground up. And what we are doing is very gradually and in some places very rapidly losing the urban context. So what I decided 30 years ago as an architect is I'm not going to be this great architect building a multi-story building. I'm going to do what no one else is doing, is looking at not the monument, but the unsung, the non-monumental, the one that we are rapidly losing. And I've spent 30 years doing just that.
Dil ko chi gaya. That's what I think.
Dil ko chhu gaya.
Exactly. But you live in Mumbai. You've been doing your work in Mumbai. And if you live in Mumbai with a population of 20 plus million and virtually no nationally protected monuments on this island city, how does a city like Mumbai protect its non-monumental architecture and its heritage?
But let me take you away from Mumbai to the worst case scenario. What happens to a remote village? What happens in the worst case scenario of an unprotected monument in a remote village in Ladakh at a height of 11,000 feet? And this project really started, in a way, my thought process when it came to community and architecture. And this is the Maitreya temple, the 15th century temple of Basgo. It is perched on top of a mountain. It's made of very, very fragile earth, mud blocks, and timber. And it's not protected, like so much of our country, of our nation's landscape. And imagine what could happen. It was on the world most endangered list, and it would have collapsed one day. But what I'm calling out to is the spirit of the Indian. The local community, the village of Basgo, we didn't have running water, we had no cell phone connectivity, and not even an engineer residing in the city, in the village, not the city. They signed up a grant project with the World Monuments Fund. And when it came to a 50-50 World Monument funding, they said, we'll match your dollar for our labor. We will match your dollar for our material. And the villagers carried material up the hill with mud blocks. And other than the local villagers, I was the one who was asked to work on this project to restore it. I took a pledge that I'm not going to use any material that is alien to the construction. So we did not go for cement. We did not go for steel scaffolding. We made a scaffolding using local brick, that's mud blocks, and local willow that came from every household's tree. And with that, we restored this monument, which then won the highest award of excellence in 2007. So you don't need money, you don't need government funding, you don't even need to be on the list of protected monuments.
Now that's a big deal to win a UNESCO award of that nature because it's global, it really signifies something special, and this really was a salute to what you did in Ladakh to show what happens in the rural areas. It's amazing, really. And when we were speaking about Mumbai just a little bit earlier and no nationally protected monuments, how does a city like Mumbai protect its non-monumental architecture and heritage, something that you've spent a lot of time working on.
Tell me, do Mumbaikars wait for somebody to give them a dole? No, no, we just roll up our sleeves and do it ourselves. And that's what the city's done. Because Mumbai, when you look at India's heritage, among the 40 World Heritage Sites, they're mostly monuments, forts, palaces, tombs. And that's normally what comes in the kitty of national monuments. And here's the city, this bit of an upstart of a city, which is not even 200 years old. And most of the buildings are just, they're not monumental. So Mumbai in 1995 said, doesn't matter. You don't consider us important enough, old enough, historic enough. We will give ourselves a tag. And Mumbai became the first city in India in 1995 to say we are going to protect our neighborhoods, our open spaces, our milestones, even an open space like Oval Maidan. And that's when my journey in conservation began. I came to Mumbai in 95. I was a young conservation architect. And there was no government funding, there was no government grant. And what we did as citizens of the city was to say, every Mumbaikar has a direct link with his city or her city. Why? Because they're not up there in a glass box like a museum piece. They're not behind a fence that you see and move on. We use our buildings. We have an intimate relationship with buildings. So there are our offices, our public buildings, our libraries, our colleges. When we go to court, it's a historic building. When we take a train from Bandra or Baikala to CST, it's a historic building. So the relationship of Mumbai with its history is very different. And what we did, I was a founder member of the Kala Ghoda Association. We were 6 people. We went to the government in 98 and we said, don't give us money. All you do is 2 weeks of February, you allow us to use your parking lot. And in the parking lot, we got the parking lot to become a space for art. And we used every open space, whether it was footpaths, setbacks, parking lots, to celebrate art. And we did not charge a ticket because the idea is it's not elitist. Let everybody who wants to listen to Ustad Zakir Hussain just come to Kala Ghoda and watch him. And with that, we did not earn any money, but what we got was goodwill. And over the last 25 years, what we've been doing with Elphinstone College, with other buildings in that area, is raising corporate funds to restore it. And not just corporate, because see, Mumbai is not Calcutta or Delhi. Mumbai was not built as a capital city. We built Mumbai. The buildings were built by David Sassoon, Kawasji Jahangir, Premchand Roychand, local Mumbaikars. So why should we not restore our buildings? David Sassoon Library opened 2 days ago, and it's a simple case. We had this building, the roof had been demolished. Thank you. They demolished the roof in the 1960s, and as you can see, there was an old photograph which showed the gable roof, and it was not there. What we did in the last 14 months, from different corporates to local citizens, gave money to remove the concrete slab that was leaking, put back the roof. And this is a reading room. It's one of the oldest reading rooms. And what we did was just remove the slab and put this back. Why? Because heritage matters. Right, sir.
Here's it.
And that has been our journey in Mumbai. And even Opera House, it's privately owned. There was no government. It was not eligible for any kind of funding.
Wait, hold on a second. What you showed previously, the Sassoon Library, was something that was publicly put together but not privately done. And what you're saying now is with the Opera House and the reimagination of the Opera House, that was privately done and privately funded, really.
Funded. And that's the problem. There was nobody coming to give funds to the Opera House. It's Asia's oldest opera house. And for 25 years, the building was locked up, it was shut, and it was declared unsafe. Now, that could have been washed off. But one brave lady, the owner of Mahisab Kumud Gondal, she said, let's restore it. And she contacted me and I said, Bhai Sahab, can we restore it back to an opera house? There was no market for opera. We don't have opera in Mumbai.
That's what it was.
This is what it was. The roof was leaking. And then when we looked at this building, we said it's Art Deco, but Art Deco hadn't even come on the planet in 1916. We restored it back to an opera house. And Mumbai embraced it.
And where is this woman? Have you got a picture that we can show everybody?
This is the Petit Kumutsab, the lady who owns Opera House. And that is the leap of faith that I think we take in Mumbai, is just do it.
Incredible. So how many of you could do something like that? Never mind Mumbai, in India in general, from a private idea to develop something. That is an idea worth spreading. So now here's a question for you. We've constantly got to refigure what we have to bring into various areas that deals with transportation, infrastructure, citizens' needs, networks. How does heritage act as a catalyst to change things? Have you got anything you can show us?
So, which is the least heritage project that you can think of? A metro station? And I'm taking you to Jaipur, because a few years ago, Jaipur was building an underground metro line within the walled city. And where does a conservation architect appear? But then some people started saying that when they tunnel under the road and create that tunneling for under Choti Chopper and the metro station comes, what if the buildings start to fall, the historic buildings? So I came in and we looked at our historical research and found this photograph from the mid-19th century, which said that under the road, which was a roundabout and a gol chakkar, a typical Indian one, there just might have been a step well. So I went back to the chief minister and I said, ma'am, there's a possibility of a step well. Can we change the metro alignment and take it down by 6 meters? It might take a little time. And she said, go for it. We did an archaeological excavation, dug it up, dug the road up, and we found a step well that had been lost for 150 years. No one in memory remembered it.
Incredible.
So now, the step well is at Choti Chopper. The metro station is below it. And if you will take a metro into Jaipur, you'll come out and below ground, you'll first walk through a museum of archaeology and then come up. And what we then did is just took all the streets, all the bazaars of the walled city and said, itni garmi mein kaun jayega sightseeing ke liye? So in a desert hot climate, why not light up all these bazaars at night so people can just walk, not be stuck in traffic, take a metro, and then enjoy the view. And that gives the local community of shopkeepers a much longer period to sell their wares.
Abha, I must say, I can only say one word to describe what you've just described yourself, which is jatas. It's really great. And in fact, man bahar jata hai. That's what you've got to say. Ladies and gentlemen, think about this. You can change things. If you want to change the heritage into the modern space, to really do something that's great for your city, for your heart, for your country, for something, practice what Abha has managed to do. Abha, thank you so much for being with us at TEDxGateway. Ladies and gentlemen, Abha Narain Lambah.
Right.